Hey everybody, welcome, good evening. My name is Murray Foster. I am the founder of the Toronto Songwriting School. For those of you who don't know, Toronto Songwriting School, we've been around for about 7 years. We offer beginner songwriting courses, intermediate songwriting courses, we do master classes, we do songwriter getaways where we take people away, take songwriters away for magical weekends. We run a recording studio, and many other things. You can check us out at torontosongwritingschool.com. Tonight we have a very exciting guest and a very exciting topic. We're going to learn about SOCAN and royalties and how they work. And this is the first of a series that we're launching tonight, which is the Business of Music series. So it's going to be a monthly series where we have music business people come on and join us and talk about a business element of the music industry. So a great way to get educated in terms of music business and to have questions answered that you've always wanted to know the answer to and have never known who to ask. So now we're going to provide people to ask, starting with Raquel Villagante from SOCAN tonight. A few housekeeping things before we move forward. Toronto Songwriting School has new classes starting in November, beginner and intermediate classes. We have a songwriting contest. It's the second one we've run. It's very exciting. The first one was very successful, had some great songs. This one has the theme, the song theme of lessons learned. And the deadline to submit your lesson learned song is September 30th. So if you are so inclined, write a song about lessons learned and submit it to our songwriting contest for cash and prizes and notoriety. And our next Business of Music seminar is going to be October 19th. It's going to be How to Book Better Shows with Jesse Lundy, who's a concert promoter. Yeah, you may not think that that is as relevant as it might have been last year due to the pandemic, but he'll have a lot of tips and a lot of wisdom in terms of the live music industry. So come back on October 19th and check that out. But tonight, a very exciting topic. I'm excited about this topic personally because I have been in the music industry for decades, literally, and I still don't understand royalties. So I feel like I'm the perfect host for this topic because I have questions myself, and they're probably questions I've heard the answer to before, but it can be a confusing topic, and Raquel is here to set us all straight. She's got an exciting PowerPoint, and you know that when there's a PowerPoint, you're going to learn something, and it's going to be important because it's a PowerPoint, which is going to be great. So we're also going to take questions from the audience, so type them into the chat. And I will, if I'm a diligent host, I will remember to look at those questions and ask Raquel at some point. Yes, and yeah, I hope this is informative. I know it's a bit of a labyrinth, royalties, how they work. I think everyone has a lot of questions about them. And I think a lot of people, even veteran, music industry people like me, veteran musicians, also have questions. So tee up those questions, and we will find the answers, I hope, tonight. Okay, without any further ado, and if I had 3 trumpeters here, I would do a little trumpet roll to announce her. Raquel Villagante.
Yay!
Hooray!
Hi, everyone. Hey.
Cue the trumpets.
I hear them in my head.
Exactly. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Nice.
Doing good.
Nice.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So we were chatting a little bit before we went live, and you are in Toronto, but you're new to Toronto.
I am. Yes, I'm in my 9th month as a Toronto resident.
Right. And 7th of lockdown.
And 7th of lockdown.
Yeah.
So still working from home.
Yeah.
No SOCAN offices are open right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But,
and the tragic irony is that you sort of came here for the live music scene. Is that true?
Yeah, I was saying earlier that it feels like swimming without water.
Right. Yeah. Breathing without air.
Breathing without air.
Yeah, all those metaphors. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Like I was just saying, I've got a few questions that I'm going to ask you, and if they're not answered by the PowerPoint, but with that, I guess we'll leave you to it, and
Sure.
yeah, we'll see you soon.
We'll dive right in. Okay. So can everyone see the screen? Yes, you can all see it. So hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. So I will be covering quite a bit in the next half hour, and there will be time for question and answer at the end if you have something that's unaddressed in this presentation, but I'll just jump right in. So SOCAN is a society of composers, authors, and music publishers of Canada. We're the not-for-profit music rights organization of Canada, and we administer performing and reproduction rights. We have over 160,000 members now all over the world, but they're mainly Canadian music creators, publishers, composers, and visual artist members. And we are responsible for ensuring that all of these members are compensated fairly for the use of their work. And as of last year, we were able to distribute over $400 million in royalties to members in 2019. And we have quite a bit of catalog in our database, over 33 million at this point in time of compositions in the world that are, as I mentioned, created by Canadian music creators. And we're constantly tracking billions of music performances around the world on a daily basis. Lots of performances are happening, whether it's online, live, live not as much this year, but hopefully next year and the years in the future. Also radio performances and film and TV broadcasts. We're also tracking those performances and paying our members out when those songs within their catalog are played, broadcast, viewed, streamed. We also are able to do the collection and administration and payment of royalties from other territories around the world outside of Canada through the reciprocal agreements that we have with other music rights organizations around the world. So SOCAN covers Canadian creators, and there are other societies around the world respective to the country and territory that they're in. I will jump back just to show you some of our high profile members. We do have some of the biggest names in music that are proudly SOCAN members: Jessie Reyez, Shawn Mendes, Marta Beats, Drake, and Alessia Cara, just to name a few. And yeah, so throughout this presentation, we'll touch on these topics: what SOCAN does, music having value, SOCAN royalties, SOCAN being more than just royalties, and then we'll touch on the SOCAN website as well. So lots to cover. Music has value. Obviously, we wouldn't be here today in this industry if we didn't believe that. We also believe that songs have commercial value, and music creators, anyone who creates intellectual property, they should be compensated for the use of their music because they have rights. And with these rights, they have royalties to collect. So we take that very seriously and want to keep the money straight as much as possible. And yeah, give you that exchange of value for your music. So music creators are essentially considered sellers. Music users are buyers. You might not necessarily think of yourself as someone selling your music. Some of you are perhaps very passionate about songwriting and music and don't necessarily consider it something that you're selling. You don't really see it as a product. It's perhaps an extension of yourself and your creativity and your emotions. But we're within this context seeing you as essentially the seller and then the music user being the buyer. So who are the buyers that purchase the use of music, of your music? So some examples would be non-live venues. So a public venue or business like a cafe, for example, where they play music, but it's not necessarily a live music venue where the live music is the draw, is the purpose of the business existing, right? And then there's live venues where you would actually go to see your favorite artist or band perform. So concert halls, clubs, a lot of the places that we miss going to, of course, during this pandemic, but hopefully they stay alive and are there when this all ends. We also have terrestrial radio, so radio, FM, AM, what you listen to in the car most of the time. And then there's sync, so film, TV placement will um, also render you broadcast the royalties for the broadcast of the film or TV show that your music is synced in. There's also retailers, so any business like, for example, a mall, a store, wherever you shop, they're playing music, and that creates sort of the energy and ambiance of that store. So that also is considered a buyer, a licensee of SOCAN. Interactive digital, so if you're listening to music online, non-interactive, so it's just streamed on a website. And yeah, those are just some examples of some of the licensees or music users, aka buyers. So some of you might have questions about what your rights are as creators, as intellectual property owners. It's important to keep in mind that there is more than just one right attached to your music. There's a variety of rights. Off the top of my head, performing or performance rights, mechanical rights, and neighboring rights are the main sort of three rights that you have as a music creator. So the performance right is associated with the public performance of your work. So that's the right to perform your work, to have it in a film or TV show, to have it played on a radio show, to perform it live. That is the right that you have as a writer, producer, composer, publisher of a work performance. And then there's the mechanical, which is essentially um, old slang, I guess. And you can kind of look up the history of where that right came about. But what that basically means in plain English is the reproduction right. So it's the right to reproduce the music in a physical or digital format. So it's the copy of the music, not the performance of the music, but the copying of the song or the record. As I mentioned, there are these different performance types that we pay out at SOCAN, that we sort of categorize performances by. So there's the radio, which is still going, even though most people are now using Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube, SoundCloud. Radio is a big chunk of the royalties that members get into them every quarter. And it's still popping today. So the different types of radio are census radio. So we'll pay out per play for census radio. So that's commercial radio essentially. And then there's survey radio. So that's more your college campus community radio stations where we don't pay per play, but if your song falls within a certain time frame, the survey period, then that's when you're going to see a payment come in. And then there's the CBC radio, which we do get radio data in from them every quarter, and that detailed reporting does allow us to pay per play. So you do get quite a big rate for the CBC radio play. I think it is around $20, $25 at this point in time. The rates kind of fluctuate depending on the license fee that was negotiated for that quarter. But yeah, you'll see great royalties come in through any CBC radio play, especially if it's national. If it's regional, it'll be a lesser rate. Concert live performance, definitely miss that. But if your songs are played during a show, say, you're playing at a live venue, at a club, at a concert hall, a stadium, arena, we do pay out live concert royalties. That's a big chunk and obviously is missing this year, but hopefully in the future that comes back. And then there's also TV film broadcast. So anytime that your music is synced in a film or TV show and there's a cue sheet that the production company submits to us, then we're able to pay you out when the broadcast happens for that film or TV show that your song is placed in. So say you were asked by music supervisor to use your song as the theme of a film. And when that film airs and broadcasts and goes to the box office and all that, that's when the royalties will come into you when that film gets broadcast. And then there's internet, of course. That's how a lot of us are consuming music right now in lockdown. So we do get all the data submitted from all these different platforms like Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Music, Tidal, Netflix, anything that's happening on demand as well. We will get all that information to us, and then our distribution team will go through all that data and match it up to the catalog that we have in the system, and then we're able to pay you out on those plays or performances. And then international, so say your songs are played on radio in the US. If you've chosen BMI, ASCAP, or SISAC, either of those societies in the US will collect those royalties, and then they'll pay us as your mother society, and then we'll pay you for those international royalties or performances rather. We do now cover reproduction rights as well. This does tend to relate more to our publisher members at this point in time, but it is something that you can sign up to become a client of if you would like to have SOCAN reproduction rights administer your reproduction royalties. So these are some advantages linked to being a SOCAN RR client. We won't really go into that stuff because it doesn't really relate to your average songwriters. So this is what our members have communicated to us time and time again through our annual general meetings, what they want from SOCAN. I don't know if I mentioned, but SOCAN is governed by a board comprised of members that are voted in. And so every 3 years, I believe, that's when the board is decided on. And each year we have an annual general meeting, either in Montreal, Vancouver, or Toronto. It rotates through the three. And our members get to voice their opinions and their concerns and what they would like us to focus on. So this is what they've been communicating that they would like. Lower costs, so it is completely free now to be a member of SOCAN, and the membership for publishers, the fee is also waived, so it's completely free now to sign up as a publisher member for SOCAN as well. Our members also want more control over the information that they have in their member portals. So we are launching a new portal coming soon. I believe sometime this year it's coming out. So that'll be a great opportunity to see where the future is headed with the new portal. And just, more controls when you log in and you go and see your catalog and you go and see your statements, more drilled down information, more details, and transparency that also is covered in the new member portal, which will be intuitive and artist friendly and easy to use. Also higher revenue, of course. So essentially, the more SOCAN members that we have, the more globally competitive catalog that we have within SOCAN's database, the more bargaining power that we have to negotiate higher license fees. So our license fees, they correspond essentially with what we get from these licensees. And when the licensee pays a higher fee, the distribution rates and royalties will also increase. So it is important for us as the SOCAN A&R team to ensure that our members are recruited and retained, essentially. So we want to keep everyone in the SOCAN fam to ensure that the catalog is globally competitive, so that we can keep that bargaining power. These are our values. Definitely check out the AGM when it comes. I believe that'll be that those emails for the AGM invites will be coming soon. So this is sort of the information that we're able to share with members after our annual general meeting. So if you're curious, you can look up this information because it might not be too pertinent right now. It's more high level, but if you would like to access this information, it is available online. The A&R team, so this is where I come in. I am one of the 2 SOCAN A&Rs in Toronto. We have an A&R in Vancouver, one in Montreal, and one in LA. So we have a team of 5 of us, and we're luckily working from home right now, and able to continue supporting our members in the virtual online world. So right now our offices are closed, but when they do open, definitely hit us up to book an appointment. If you've never been to the office before, we do have sound lounges, aka little studios, in our Toronto and Vancouver and LA office. So if you'd like to pop in and use that space, it is free. And there is gear in the studios that you can use for the day if you'd like to book a session and work with other producers or writers and work on new music. You're welcome to do that. You just have to email us and let us know, and then you can book some time in the studio space. We are very busy working on creative projects. So song camps are the thing that we love doing. So every week we will pair up a writer, an artist, and a producer together, and the 3 of them who have never met before get the chance to collaborate with each other and write a new song from scratch. It's a great way to sort of expand your network, go outside your comfort zone and outside your bubble. Right now, obviously, to maintain safety and health, we have created our virtual song camps. So we'll connect everyone on Zoom or Skype or whatever works best for our members, and then they get to collaborate from wherever they are in the world. And we're also able to sort of provide some ideas and suggestions for co-writing for some of our members. If you're looking to work with other folks in sessions, you can let us know, and we can suggest if we can think of people potentially in your market who are down to collaborate. We also do advances, which not everyone knows about, but essentially if members have earnings, steady earnings, and we're able to predict and project those earnings into the future, we're able to advance our members, and they'll recoup those advances back on their earnings in the future. So if they've got big cuts, big radio singles coming out, big artists that they've been writing with, and they'd like an advance, then they can apply, and we'll see if they qualify, and they can get that advance from SOCAN. So if you're interested in that, definitely hit us up, but that is reserved for select members who qualify. And luckily, we were able to give out $2 million in emergency advance funding over the past couple months during this time of the pandemic to keep our members afloat. A lot of them have lost revenue from the live touring being cut and canceled. So thankfully, we've been able to jump in with a financial life raft during this time just to carry some of our members through. I mentioned sound lounges, so that is a free space that members can use and book if they reach out to us. And I'll give my email at the end if you would like to book the sound lounge in the future. You can email one of the A&Rs. We also have a house in Paris, in Nashville, and in LA that our members can apply to stay in. It can be somewhat competitive depending on the time, and LA definitely gets booked up quite fast. But you can submit your application to stay in one of our SOCAN houses that are in those 3 cities. So if you're down there for a business trip, you're writing, you're meeting with labels, publishers, any industry, put that information into the submission form or into your application form rather, and then we'll go through all those submissions and get to put you in and fit you in if there's availability. We do have an office and an A&R in LA. Camille Matthews is our A&R rep down there, and she's great. And she is primarily working on developing the songwriting, producing, composing, publishing community of Canadians down in LA. It's like a home away from home, and it's an opportunity for our members who are based in LA to stay connected to the SOCAN fam. And she also provides different programming like info sessions at the office, mixers and minglers and networking events and parties and things like that. We also have the Canada Day party, which didn't happen this year, but hopefully in the future will happen, where we celebrate Canada Day down in LA. So we do have quite a few members that are in the US market and doing well internationally and are based in LA, especially within the film composing world. We also have conferences and showcases that we attend yearly that we go to support our talent. And right now we actually have the SOCAN Awards happening online, so you can check out the SOCAN Music Instagram page if you're interested in checking out who won this year. We weren't able to have the award show this year in person, so it's all online if you would like to check that out. And our Words of Music mag, that is a really great way to know what's going on in the world of Canadian music. It's a great resource, if you just also want to get highlighted, if there's something really exciting that you're working on, any sort of buzzy news with your music, please share with us, with the editorial team, and we can see if we're able to feature you and the project or the event or whatever you're working on in our Words of Music magazine. We also have our Twitter account, our social media, our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Facebook that you can follow and keep tabs on what we have happening. Lots of announcements like awards and grants and programs for members are updated and posted on those social media platforms. So definitely keep tabs on us there. And yeah, number ones, we also present number one awards to any number one radio charting songs, any of the songwriters and producers behind those number one songs. So yeah, we love celebrating the wins of our members, and it's really exciting to see so many Canadians getting number one radio charting all over the world. So yeah, we're doing so well around the world in the international music scene, and we love being able to connect with members and shout them out and celebrate their wins with them. We don't have any networking events that I know of coming up, but these are some of the parties that we're able to host and gather all our members together from LA, Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver. So hopefully post-pandemic, we'll be able to have a really big family and friends party and everyone will be there. This is our SOCAN Toronto Sound Lounge, which I almost forgot what it looked like. It's been a while. It's been 7 months since I've been there, but you can kind of see the space. We've got the speakers. We've got the monitor. I think we might have a keyboard in there as well. There's a drum kit in the Vancouver one. And I think we have some guitars as well. So you basically just bring your laptop, plug and play. We have a mic as well, a vocal mic, so you can track vocals in there as well. So it's just a really great collaborative space that our members can come through and feel a part of the SOCAN family even more by working in there. And that's Whitney presenting a #1 award. Whitney is our A&R in Montreal, up against the wall in the black hat. That's Whitney. Some other team members in LA, our office in Culver City, LA. That's our office in Toronto as well, top right. And there's Aiden, who's our other Toronto A&R, Rodney, who's the big boss of membership and A&R, and Camille, bottom right in LA, Camille Matthews. So definitely hit us up on email or on social media if you would like to connect. The SOCAN Foundation. So SOCAN Foundation is separate from SOCAN, but it is the sister charity affiliated with SOCAN, and it is for the purpose of supporting our SOCAN members. So we are able to connect you to them if you're interested in any of the grants, awards, programs that they have. In 2018, I don't know the 2019 stats, but in 2018 they were able to award around 400K to members, which is great. So in addition to the awards, we also do these travel grants through the SOCAN Foundation. So if you have any conferences or showcases, festivals, song camps, any sort of craft development opportunities that you would like to attend, we're able to supplement your travel costs and provide you with the grant of $1,000. And then also, if you have earned 2 SOCAN payments in the last 3 years, doesn't matter how much the SOCAN payment is, if you've earned 2, then you'll be eligible for up to $1,500 per year in addition to that travel grant. So you can use that, I believe, once a year. So definitely apply to those. And if you're interested, just go to socanfoundation.ca to check out the grants. We do have a new award that isn't mentioned on there, and it's the Black Music Awards, and so I should add that on to there, but that is brand new. But we also have the Indigenous Songwriter Award, the Award for Young Composers, Emerging Songwriter Screen Composer Awards, Young Canadian Songwriter Awards, and the TD Creative Entrepreneur Incubator. So there's lots going on for our members, and obviously focusing on different segments of our membership who need that support and that spotlight. So definitely check out socanfoundation.ca. It's a different website, different team, separate from SOCAN, not concerned with the royalty distribution or A&R, but they do help support our SOCAN members. The portal. So the portal is getting made over as we speak. It looks great from what I see so far, and I'm excited for all of you to see the big reveal. I believe it'll be later this year that it will be launched for members. So keep posted, stay tuned for that. That will be exciting to see. So if you do have specific questions about your catalog, it might be best to reach out to me personally or to members at socan.ca. But if you're not a member already, definitely sign up. It's easy. It takes less than 10 minutes. It's free. Just go to socan.com and go to join now and sign up to be a writer member. We do have statements that go out quarterly to our members, and keep in mind that the statements do take about 9 months, around 9 months to a year, for the royalties to come in post performance. So just because you had a performance or radio or some radio play happening like last month or this month doesn't mean it's going to show up in the next distribution, which is November coming up. It will take some time for that data to be collected and for the license fee to be collected and for the royalties to get distributed and funneled out to you. So there is that delay. So keep in mind that that is a thing. So don't panic or be alarmed if you're not seeing the royalties come in right away. It does take some time. Also, with your catalog, make sure that you're registering your songs after you've written them and recorded them. If you perform a song, make sure that it is in your catalog before you go and perform it, so that when you report your set list, it's in the system. New works are essentially what we call songs or cues. So cues that is associated with the film or TV placement, or not film or TV placement, sorry. That's more the composers. So when the composers create cues within the cue sheet, that's what they're talking about. So not necessarily related to songwriter songs, but yeah, we call songs or cues works at SOCAN. So register your new works. Submit all your set lists. We did just have our Get Set Get Paid campaign. So essentially that meant we had a backlog of some unreported shows from, I think, from 2016 all the way to 2019 and some early 2020 that we had the license fee for and we collected the money for, but we didn't have the set lists from our members. So that was a campaign that we ran where we sent out an email and blasted all of our members with a reminder to submit their set lists so that they could get paid in this next distribution for those shows. So unless you report your set list, we don't know what songs you played, and we don't know who to pay. So definitely after your show, report your set list and maybe do it twice or 3 times a year if you don't want to keep up on it after every single show. Maybe just set a reminder in your calendar to do it every quarter, every half, or every 6 months. You can also check to see what your performances could bring you as far as royalties go. If you go to the performance radio or AV calculator, so AV audiovisual, that's for film, TV placement. So you can estimate potentially what you could collect from a radio play or film, TV broadcast, which is cool. So if you have any questions about accessing that, please reach out. Our customer support line is Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. And you can call the 1-866 number and someone will be able to address your questions. And you can also email us your queries at members@socan.com. Definitely, as I mentioned earlier, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, SOCAN TV, to keep up on all the newest, most exciting stuff that we have happening with SOCAN. I know that was a lot of information, but hopefully not too much. But does anyone have any questions? Oh, there's comments in here. Okay. After the presentation, I would be interested to know what most musicians forget about, don't understand, don't apply from what SOCAN provides. I think Elise, the main thing is just registering the songs and submitting set lists. We do try to reach out to our members and remind them to submit set lists, especially if there's 10 or more shows that we don't have the set list for. So that is something that most people forget to do. And even artists with managers and publishers sometimes will forget that's an important step. So definitely do that. Definitely register your works. Check out SOCAN Foundation as well to see what we have happening. There's deadlines for award applications and grant applications and all that. So don't miss deadlines if you're interested in any of those awards, programs, grants. Keep those deadlines in mind. Mboya, yes, there are a lot of benefits to being a SOCAN member. I should actually pull up the page that talks about what you have as a member. So if you Google search SOCAN Advantage or you go to the website and you click on what SOCAN does, SOCAN Advantage, you'll see, I don't know if you all see this. Hold on. I think I have to stop share and then share screen again. And then here we go. Sorry. So if you go to SOCAN Advantage, you can see all of the benefits that you get as a member. There's banking, instrument insurance, health insurance, home and auto insurance. These are the houses that you can apply to stay in once we reopen and travel is lifted. And then there's the Song Camp Mondays that you can sign up for if you'd like to take part in those virtual song camps. Car and truck rental deals when you're traveling around, touring around. And some software, some website deals. I think discounts on Berkeley courses, things like that. So there's a lot of stuff available to members that not every member knows. So now you know, and knowledge is power. So now you've got more tools in your toolbox and more power in your pack. Maybe I'll go down and see if there's any other questions here. Is there an expiry to when you can record your set lists? So we do go back 1 year. If the promoter or the venue has paid the license fee, then it does, the fee sits there and the show sits there for some time. So like I said, there was a couple of shows that I saw from 2016. I'll show you actually where you can see these unreported set lists. So if you go to SOCAN Performance, so this is your member portal. If you go to SOCAN Performances and Repertoire here in the middle, the top toolbar, and you click on Unidentified Performances, click on Concerts with No Set Lists, and then you can type in, a child submitted all of them. Let me think of someone who hasn't submitted all their set lists. Who did I try to? I feel like I submitted everyone. Can someone give me their performer name in the chat and I can check? Maybe I'll just type in like a random name that's common. Okay. So here it is. So these are the Ashleys that didn't report their set lists. So as you can see, we know the venue, we know the city that the venue's in, province, who the promoter was, And we've got a concert number to track that performance. So we have all this information because they've the promoter, New Glasgow Riverfront Music Jubilee, has paid the license fee to SOCAN. So we have a license fee, but we don't have the set list. So Ashley George just has to click on her performer name and then press continue. Was she the headline act? Let's say she was. She didn't have any support. It was just her. If she had anyone else that was performing or any support for the bill on the bill, then she would indicate that here, and you can just add, you know, she played with Lady Gaga or whoever. And then you would say how many works, so how many songs did you perform? So say Ashley played 12, nope, not 112, no, that's a long set. 12 songs. And she played at 7 o'clock. And then we press continue. And then here you would type in each of the songs, all the 12 songs that she had played, and then who the composers, who the authors, the writers, the producers were in each of those songs. It does cut off at a certain point, so just type in as many names as you can. And then you press continue. I won't because this is not a real set list. You press continue and then you're done. And that's all you have to do for the ones that have already collected license fees. So these will sit here for a while. As you can see, 2017, there's some that I've seen from 2016. So make sure to check that and see that your songs are, or see that your shows are reported. So it's just performances in repertoire, unidentified performances, concerts with no set lists. Type in your performer name, your band, your artist name, and then search. If it's not there, we might not have the license fee yet. So this is what you would do. If it's not in there, you go to SOCAN Forms, go to notification of live music performance, click online. Note that this will change when the new portal gets launched. So this is what it is right now, but it will change at some point this year. So for now, just go SOCAN Forms, notification of live music performance online, click submit, have all this information beforehand, press continue, write the name of the artist or the band. Was it in Canada or was it outside of Canada? And you proceed. And then was there a cover charge of 6 or more? So this will pop up if it's a bar or club. If it's a music festival or a music concert or serious or classic music concert, it won't pop up, as you can see. And the reason being is we will pay out royalties on shows if there's a cover charge of 6 or more for bars or clubs, because bars or clubs are not necessarily live music venues. So the way that we would determine if it's qualifying for a royalty is if there was a cover charge of 6 or more, because sometimes it's just a club night or it's just a bar night and there's no live music. Then you would indicate if you're a headliner, your support, whatnot, and then, of course, again, the supporting acts, other names of artists or bands that played with you, and that helps us to determine who else gets paid for this license fee. And then how many works, so how many songs did you perform, and then proof of the show, whether that's an online, oh, this is good to keep in mind for this period of COVID and the pandemic and everyone doing shows on Instagram and Facebook, we're able to pay out live stream shows as long as there was an audience of 100 or more. So if there's 100 or more viewers on your Facebook or your Instagram live stream, screenshot that to give proof of the performance and then upload it. So you just upload the file and you can report it as if it were a live show in person. So we are doing that right now. It's called the Encore program. If you're interested in looking that up, we are paying, I believe it's $100 a live stream show. Only for Facebook and Instagram, so not Twitch or any other platform, but just Instagram and Facebook at this point in time. So pretty simple and straightforward. Like I said, it's going to change when the portal launches, the new portal launches. So upload, continue, and you're done. Okay, I'm just going through these questions. Hope that answered your question, Veronica. Sarah Foster, how can members outside Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver access more benefits? I'd love to make use of a sound lounge in Ottawa. Yeah, we don't have an office in Ottawa at this point in time, but we do have an A&R in Montreal, and we have two in Toronto. So wherever you want to go, pop in, say hello when we reopen, and definitely make an appointment first, and then we can see what we can make work for you. But we do know some of our members in Ottawa, so do reach out, and perhaps we might be able to connect you to some other members out in Ottawa. Because there is a music scene out there, and there are some really talented members out there. We definitely want to support them and support you. What is the benefit requirements to register as a publisher if you're a new songwriter? So if you are self-published, you don't at this point in time need to set up a publishing account with SOCAN. You don't need to. And there is really at this point, if you're new, not really any benefit. There are members that get set up with a vanity publisher, their own publishing entity, when they get involved with either a U.S. attorney or U.S. management. They tend to want that to be kept separate because of the potential to sign a publishing deal down the road. But if you're new, there's no point. You do get 100% of your publishing royalties through your songwriter account, so you don't need to set up a separate account. We should register our songs prior to their release. Yes, so YouTube and other online services do pay license fees, and thus you'll get paid out for those performances on those platforms. And yes, register before release. By release, it doesn't really matter. But before you perform it, before you go live with it, before it gets put out on a digital platform. Covers, those original writers and producers will get those royalties because they're the original writers and producers of those songs. So you wouldn't register a cover because it's not your original intellectual property to register. And that's why when you report your set list, if you're reporting a cover song, that's our way of knowing who to pay out because we don't know what songs you played. And when you report the cover, then we're able to pay out those original songwriters. So it's great when your friends cover your songs and then you can get those royalties. It's not too late to sign up for camp. So like I said, on the SOCAN Advantage page, there's a song camp. Can you all see that? Yes. The song camp sign up. So it's right here, SOCAN Song Camp, SOCAN Virtual Song Camp Mondays. So just fill out this form and then you'll be put in our database of submissions, and then we can pair you up with an artist or writer or producer, and the three of you can collaborate. Wondering about royalties from social media or online content such as fitness platforms. Peloton comes to mind, or video games and other apps that may use music. So at this point in time, video games, the fee for having your music in a video game, that is sort of the end all be all. So when you get that placement and that licensing deal, whatever you get on the upfront, that's what you get. There's no back end royalties that I know of for video games, at least not with SOCAN. So make sure that you're getting the bigger chunk up front because there's no residual backend royalties for video games. For fitness platforms, I don't know of us licensing them, but we are working on getting more digital platforms licensed. So that's to say that it could happen in the future. Maybe not right now, but in the future, that could be the next thing um, that we collect from. Social media, like I said, Facebook and Instagram live stream shows do count as um, live shows at this point in time if there's an audience of $100, 100 people or more, and then you could essentially get $100 from that performance from us. Hey, Bedhead. Oh, that was the name. Okay, let's see if Bedhead is in unidentified performances to test that out. Can everyone see that? Share screen. Share. Okay. So unidentified performances, concerts with no set lists, Bedhead. Okay, Bedhead, you're good. There's no unreported set lists. Bed of Roses, you need to get us new set lists. Also, if you're curious as to stuff that a lot of members miss out on that I've noticed, other than the reporting set lists and song registrations, is the statements and understanding those. So if you click on your statements, you can see very important information that you could find useful for future planning and just understanding your market. So as you can see with this statement, the major chunk of royalties came in from concert royalties. So definitely reporting the set lists helped with this particular member. Radio also brought in a lot of royalties. Here you can see if it's a survey radio station or a census radio station. And it would also indicate CBC, so you know which stations are giving you the love. International radio, they'll also let you know where in the world you're getting played on radio. So BUMA is the Netherlands, BMI is the US, SIAE is Italy, PRS is the UK, JazzRack is Japan. So there's a lot of love worldwide for this member. And you can see the total tally of royalties that come in from other societies around the world. So this member's doing pretty good in the US. So maybe a tour in the US would be a good thing in the future, or at least doing some marketing strategy and planning around the US market would be smart. But I think for the most part, most of their earnings is within Canada. So Canada is showing them love. So you can really dip into that information. If you click on internet, you can see here like use YouTube stream, Rdio, Spotify, Google Play. So that's what all of this station data means, and it's super detailed. So if you're a geek on transparency and a geek on data, then definitely click on those statements and get the drill down details in there. Make sure that your information is correct. If your address is new, we need to know that. And direct deposit should be on file because as of this year, we've switched everything to direct deposit. So if you have check in there, you're not going to get anything because we stopped with the checks. So do indicate the direct deposit information. And you can do that right on your profile. Member number is right up there, your IPI number, which you should share with all of your collaborators. That number is right there. So that basically helps you with the song registration. If you register a song and you type in the IPI number, you'll get the right member every time. It won't be another Karen Richards, right? So make sure that you share this unique IPI number with your collaborators so that they get that right and they don't miscredit you. Our live stream, yes, live stream are eligible for royalties if there's 100 viewers or more. Do they have to be from SOCAN registered venues? Nope. They could be live streamed from your home, from your kitchen, from your bathroom, from your attic, from your backyard. As long as they're Facebook or Instagram live streams and they have 100 viewers or more, then yes, you'll get royalties if you report them, just like a live show and with a screenshot. Might be a silly question, but if the show was for charity, can you still report the set list? Yes, if the show happened and there was a cover charge of $6 or more and the venue or promoter paid a fee to SOCAN, then you can see royalties and you can submit the set list. It doesn't matter if it's for charity. If it's a free event, however, then you'll likely not see royalties from a free event or an educational event or religious event. Those ones aren't licensed in the same way that an official live show for profit would pay out. And then I can stop sharing. How would one get in touch with Words and Music? So Words and Music, I'll show you, is our SOCAN magazine. And the contact information is right here. So if you just go, I think it's down at the bottom, email. Oh, that's to subscribe. No. So if you go to contact us, and then you can see here, Howard Druckman, our editor-in-chief. You can email Howard any of your exciting projects. If you'd like to present a song as the song of the week, you can submit there. We do accept video submissions for that, so you do need to have a video for the new release to be featured as the song of the week. And if you have any other like queries for SOCAN, you could just call the 1-866 number or email. If you have any issues with your catalog or you're looking at your statements and something looks off or missing, you can hit us up there. And then, yeah, Howard for the Words and Music mag. So right now, the main feature that we've got happening is, of course, our SOCAN Awards, which are happening virtually throughout this week. So we've got like interviews from some of the winners, and some information on here, as you can see, with the song camps, number ones, any updates that we've got going on. We also have COVID updates that we update every week. It's SOCAN's COVID 19 music updates. So if you're kind of curious as to what members are doing in the middle of this pandemic, yeah, every week the stories are submitted here. So if you have a charity event, if you have something really cool that you're working on, anything that you think would benefit our members or you'd like to share with the SOCAN network, then please submit it to Howard and or to me, and we can get it featured in this SOCAN weekly update. But yeah, lots happening, lots changing. It's a crazy, unpredictable time that we're living in, but we're all in this together, and we're all working hard to make sure that you're getting your royalties in this time, and staying afloat and staying collaborative and creative as much as possible. So here to support in any way that we can. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to invite Murray back in.
Hi.
Hi, I was going to just message you, but you just read my mind.
Yes, Mary, who's working the back end of all this, read your mind, actually, and brought me back. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it was a
That was
lot of
great.
information. I hope it was useful, though.
I think people seem to be appreciative. It's great. I actually have a few questions.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned mechanical royalties. What's an example of mechanical royalties?
So mechanical royalties would stretch out to visual artists as well. Essentially, the copy of the work, whether it's like a visual, like a painting, for example. We have some painters now as SOCAN Reproduction Rights clients. Anytime that the painting is in a magazine, is up in a gallery, is on exhibit at some,
Right.
event. Whoever's putting that on or presenting that artwork does have to pay a fee. So SOCAN RR is a la carte. You can decide how long you want to be affiliated with SOCAN RR, which work specifically you want us to collect for. The publishers tend to be the ones affiliating with SOCAN RR at this point in time because their catalog is so massive. And so it makes sense to do the reproduction rights through SOCAN RR. But yeah, if your album is pressed in vinyl or in a CD, there needs to be that license fee paid in order to grant permission to do that,
Right.
to make that copy. So that's the more physical. But then the digital would be if it was put into a program that was sold, or I think an example would be like if it was in like a film production that was distributed, like a film or
Right.
TV show that was
Right.
distributed, so not just broadcasted but sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially any copy of
Sure.
the work.
So where does
Yeah.
streaming fall into that?
So streaming would be considered performance because
Okay.
it's streamed to an audience member, so that stream is considered a performance.
Right.
Of course, it's not the same as like a live show, because the live show is performed to like a venue with 100 people or more.
Yeah.
The stream is to one set of ears, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
the weight is different, and the distribution rate would depend on how much the platform has paid
Right.
to SOCAN. So
YouTube versus Spotify versus Apple Music.
yeah. And Spotify right now, because there are more people becoming official Spotify members and paying, the fee has gone up. And then the distribution rate goes up with that. So
Sorry, just unpack that for a second. So
hmm
who do you mean private individuals signing up to Spotify?
Now that Spotify has more paid members,
Right.
right, their profit has gone up. So they're basically like, we know that there's money there, and because a lot of the music that is played is Canadian right now with Drake and The Weeknd and Shawn Mendes. Um, we have that bargaining power to be like, look, you're playing this much Canadian music, you're making this much money. Like, that's essentially our members' money. So you need to pay this license fee. So they do negotiate the fee that they pay, I believe, every quarter.
So
So
you're talking
that's why
about Spotify
yeah,
specifically, right? Okay.
specifically Spotify, or it could be Apple Music, it could be
Right.
any of the platforms. Um, the fee that they pay depends on the quarter and their
So, from a layperson's perspective, what we always hear is, how low Spotify rates are and how low YouTube rates are and how low Apple Music rates are. And I know those are different rates. But are you saying that SOCAN has some leverage in terms of that per stream rate for Spotify because there are more Canadian artists there? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, and that's essentially why we want to make sure our members stay with SOCAN, because our licensing fees can be maintained because we have such a hugely an international database of catalog that's played all over the world right now. So it's like, yeah, essentially our bargaining power is stronger with when we have the high profile members in our membership.
And so, for example, if when, say, Denmark is talking with Spotify, Spotify can pay them a lower rate because they have less leverage?
Hmm.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, it's kind of like market share, or yeah, it's like in the global
right,
market, we have these heavy hitters. We have,
right. Yeah,
massive producers and writers and composers. So we're able to sort of bargain
right,
and negotiate harder. Um, but yeah, that's why the rates will fluctuate per quarter. And I think they are going up because more people are paying to use Spotify. So now with more paid users, they're making more money and there's more that
sure,
we
yeah,
can ask for. But it is the Copyright Board of Canada that decides who has to pay the
right, right.
tariffs. Yeah.
Um, this question might be outside of, what you can talk about, but I think everyone knows that streaming rates are very low, and that musicians are a lot of them are really struggling because
Hmm.
of those really low rates. And it's good to hear that SOCAN is fighting the good fight in terms of that. Is there anything? Is there anything else that SOCAN does? SOCAN do any lobbying on behalf of musicians, like to change the system at all? To change, like to on a more macro scale?
I
Does
believe I believe as far as like organizing an organizing body that's advocating for the rights of songwriters, that might be more on the SAC side of things with Songwriters Association of Canada, which shares a building with SOCAN in Toronto. So I believe that's more what they tend to what their mandate is as in
right,
work. Um, we've got our members who we obviously want to make happy, but we also have the licensees that we continually through and tandem have.
sorry, who are licensees? Who was that?
The licensees are any venues, promoters, businesses, platforms that use music
Right,
that through the Copyright Board of Canada are mandated to pay the
right,
fee.
yeah,
So our side of things, like A&R membership, we're not concerned with the licensees, we're concerned with members.
right,
So we're always, on the pulse with what's happening with members, what are their concerns, what are their issues, try to address them. The part of SOCAN that's now called in tandem, they are the ones dealing with the licensees. So they're the ones following up with the promoters, being like, you had this many shows, like you need to pay, any new venue that pops up where they don't have a license to play sticker on them or they're just dodging
yeah,
the fee. And Tandem is are the ones that are following up and chasing that money down
right,
so that the members on our side can get those royalties.
sure,
But without
okay,
those license fees, we don't have the royalties to pay
yeah,
out.
yeah,
But it's kind of like a separate
sure.
entity. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. My next question. So I'm a songwriter. I'm not signed with anyone. I've written my first song. I record it, and I want to register it with SOCAN. Can you walk me through step by step what happens when I go to the website? What information do I need? Do I need an
Hmm.
MP3 of the song? What does that
Yeah,
mean to register a song?
that's a great question. I'm going to actually share the screen just to walk you through it. It's not as difficult as it appears. Here we go. You see that? Let me see if I can do the member portal. So you just go to your member profile, type in your member number, and then you'll go to register works. So then you'll type in title. I will always love you. How long the song is. If it's 4 minutes, it's 4 minutes. Performers, don't type in your legal name. Don't type in your band members' names. Just type in the name of the performer. So Whitney Houston. That's the band name or the artist name. And then under here, most of the time it's popular, but it could be jazz, it could be classical. That just sort of helps us to just determine which genre our members are usually fall within. And then it should be an original work because you shouldn't be registering someone else's work as your own. And then you just submit, or you just select either author, composer, and author. You could be the producer and the writer, or you might just be the writer, the lyricist, and the composer. So, and then you would just type in your name right here, or you would select one of your collaborators that you usually work with, and then make sure that your splits add up to 100%. So say you split the song 50-50 with your writer, say you're the producer, Ball is the producer, and Lonzo Ball is the producer, and then there's an author. And then your rep should show up automatically, whoever you've decided on. It's up to you who you pick. Just do your research and make sure that you choose a rep. And
What do you mean by a rep?
So a US rep will pay you for any US performances.
And those are ASCAP and
ASCAP, BMI, and SOCAN. And the reason why you can pick is because SOCAN allows you to pick, and we have reciprocals with all three of those societies, but also because sometimes you want to switch it up based on who you're co-writing with. If you all want to collect through ASCAP, you could just change it. But your default will stay your default throughout. And that's the reason why also you're choosing one of the three is because the US has more than one society to choose from.
Right.
SOCAN only, or Canada only has SOCAN. So that's why. And other countries and territories only have one as well. So then when that's done and it adds up to 100, then you click submit and it will be in our system in the back end. Sometimes I've heard from members that it's not showing up sometimes on the front end when they sign in. It's not in their member portal, but it with the new portal should be showing up. And if you have anything that's sitting that's not in there, and it's been a few weeks or months, please let us know and we can look into that and see what's going on. Because
cool.
I've heard there's delays with showing up on the front end. Oh, and then there was a question down here. So Spotify's rate isn't based on a rate, it's based on their revenue. So it's based on the license fee collected divided by how many performances were SOCAN members within that pool, within that time frame. So it's not a set rate. The rate would fluctuate depending on what the license fee was paid within that quarter for that time frame, if that makes sense. It's not like a standard, like everyone gets 10 cents every quarter. It would fluctuate. And then if we become SOCAN members, will I get paid by the distributor that I use for streaming? Yes. So when it's a download, I believe, or if it's tracked by DistroKid, CD Baby, TuneCore, whoever you go with to distribute onto online platforms like Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal and whatnot, they will be paying you royalties as well. And that's for the digital mechanical. So we'll pay you for online streams, but you'll also see some royalties from them on the digital reproduction. Does a company like Spotify pay me twice if no, so they don't pay you twice. It's just a different royalty. Because you're gonna get paid from being the master owner, right? we're not concerned with the master owners, right? The labels don't sign up to be SOCAN members.
Explain what a master is.
Okay, so the master is the recording itself. So say you sign a deal with a label, the label is paying you in advance to record in their studio, but then they own the master. That's like the deal. Most of the time that's a deal with a label. So they own the master and they're going to get the royalties from DistroKid, CD Baby, TuneCore. They're getting a cut from Spotify, right? But you as a writer or as a publisher, just because you don't own the master doesn't mean that you don't own your publishing. So your publishing is separate from your master. Your master rights is who owns the recording. The publishing is linked to the writer or the producer or the composer. So that's whoever came up with the melody, lyrics, composition, right? So you, depending on the deal that you're in, or depending if you're if you're an indie artist or not, you could potentially own the master and own your own publishing. If you have a pub deal, then you're giving up your publishing to a publisher, right? So then they have publishing. They are publishing, and then you have your writer shares. So it kind of gets a little tricky here when it comes to like what's the difference between master and publishing. The way I kind of envision it is through a food analogy, because usually when I'm hungry, I come up with analogies that have food in them. So say you brought some cheese to a pizza party and someone else brought pineapple and someone else brought ham. So we're making a Hawaiian pizza, right?
Very Canadian example. Thank you.
I know that some of you don't like pineapple on your pizza, but for the sake of this,
You're having it tonight.
we're having it. It's a Hawaiian pizza night. So I'm one of the writers. I'm bringing pineapple. Someone else bringing cheese. They're one of the writers, or they're an artist, or whatever. Then we've got the crust. That's the producer. Okay, so there's three of us with cheese, crust, ham, and pineapple, and we're working on a song, right? And we're splitting it, we're registering it. It's maybe 33.33, or 33.33, 33.33, 33.34. That's how it works out. Maybe flip a coin to figure out who gets the 0.01 more. So we're unpublished, right? So we don't share our publishing shares with a publisher. We're completely independent. That's fine. Say we got a record deal and a label now wants to own our master and they're giving us an advance, and we're now their big hot new band on their label. So if they own the master, they essentially, in my analogy, I would say they own the pizza box. So they're containing the ingredients. They or Tupperware, whatever container that you put the ingredients in. They own the recording. So anytime that the recording gets copied, they're getting the royalties, right? Because they own that container. We're always going to be the ones that brought the ingredients to the party. We're always going to be the ones that produced that pizza. So we're going to collect our SOCAN royalties regardless of whether or not we're signed to a label or not, right? So that's sort of separate from the box or the container or whoever owns that recording of the song, because we're the original writers, we're the original intellectual property owners, right? And if we decide we want to share some of our ingredients with a publisher, and a publisher wants to get in and work their magic to administer our publishing. They want to register our songs with SOCAN. They want to pitch our songs to film, TV. They, want to get us in sessions with other people bringing other ingredients, and they want to get us working as a writer, as a producer. They're offering extra juice to our pizza. So we bring them in. They could get a cut of our publishing. So when you're registering your work, they will likely be a shareholder, right, in the splits. So whatever your deal is with your publisher, they might own 50% of what you usually get, right? So instead of the 33%, it would be oh man, my math right now, it would be what,
16 and
16
something.
point something? Yeah. So then you would share that with the publisher. Pub admin deals, they take less than that. But yeah, it really depends on the deal that you're in. But if you're indie, you own your master, so you're going to get those royalties from CD Baby, DistroKid, 100%. If you own your publishing, you own your writer share, then, or you obviously own your writer share. You own your writer share and you own your publishing, you're self-published, you're getting 100% of your royalties.
Your pizza analogy kind of fell away at some point there.
I know. I realized.
But I like it.
I'm
I
really
like it.
hungry. Now I
Yeah.
want pizza, like for real, like not an analogy
But
pizza.
but I like it. I like that every time a pizza is sold, the box earns money and the pizza earns
Yeah.
money. Just to summarize the pizza analogy. I like that. That's good. That's good. It's good. And then you can sell half your pizza to a publisher.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. They might have this, massive like pizza
Distribution,
website. And
That's right.
they've got all the relationships with all the pizza lovers and
the pizza makers. They'll introduce you to other pizza makers.
Exactly. So
I think now we're overusing the analogy. I think we're overworking it.
Carried away. It's too much.
It's a bit
the pizza's
stretched.
flying away. Okay. The pizza's stretched out. Okay. I think that answers that question. And then there's one more question here at the bottom. Who gets royalties on a remix or mashup? Gets a little messy when it's a remix or a mashup. You do have to figure out who the publishers and writers and producers are on the songs that you're remixing, because they also need to be included in the splits. If you don't do that, they might get lawyers running after you. So, or it might be pulled down. So yeah, just be careful with that kind of thing. Obviously it happens. This is, the age of everyone kind of remixing, recycling music and yeah, so you'll have to reach out to whoever's involved in the work, and you can go into the catalog, SOCAN catalog, to look up the song, or you could Google it as well and figure out who owns the publishing. Then you have to reach out to the publisher and then get permission and some kind of writing that would state how much percentage would be to them and how much would be to you.
Raquel, I think you need to go have dinner. So
I definitely feel like it's dinner time. It's almost 8:30.
before we let you go, a couple things. First of all, I want everyone to write a thank you who's watching to Raquel for coming. Please do that right now. And if there's any last questions. So here's another question here.
One more question.
Is there anything different involved if you're producing children's music?
No, I don't think that genre breaks down to children's music. I don't think that's one of the categories at this point in time. Maybe on the new portal that might be something included, but no, there isn't anything different. Obviously, check to see if if you're remixing or covering a children's song already out there, like you don't want to be registering the song just 100% you, right? If it's a cover, and if it's a remix, make sure you credit those original writers and producers and composers, because they essentially deserve a cut of the pizza. So
thank you for bringing the pizza back. It was well done. I like that.
Thanks, everyone. I can't see any of your faces, so I don't know who's out there, but I hope that was useful and educational for all of you.
Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. And that was great. Very
Thanks,
informative.
Murray.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Have a good night. Bye.